Coco here from Rainbow Balloons, and welcome to the balloon twisting video that I'd love to share with you today. Now this one happens to be inspired by events that occurred this very day. In fact, it was the rainstorm I found myself driving home through on the way through from Spotlight, and it was pretty heavy, but as it thinned out a bit, I got to thinking, what might a kawaii rainstorm look like? Well, once I got home, I had a bit of a play in my balloon room and I came up with this design. A kawaii rain cloud, complete with rain and the lightning. You could even just forego all those details and make yourself a sweet cloud. But what I'm going to do is show you just how to recreate this one yourself. So what I'm going to use is 4 12-inch rounds in white. I also have a 160 in white. Now you'll find yourself using 2 to 3 blue balloons. I believe this is the tropical teal from memory. And finally, the lightning bolt is a goldenrod 160. So let's get to it. With this particular design as well, I'm going to be using the timer feature on my Lagenda. If you don't have a Lagenda or a inflation machine, you're fine to do it with a hand pump. You might like to go for approximate sizes. But what I'm going to do is, if you're a bit unfamiliar with the function, maybe you haven't used it before, just give a quick lowdown on what to do. The 2 timer settings I'm planning on using for this design are 4 seconds and 2 seconds. So first of all, with the 4 seconds. So, holding in the shift key, pushing it once, pushing it twice, so that the flashing digit is the one I'm going to make to 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shift again to lock that 4 seconds in place. And we're going to inflate our first round balloon to 4 seconds. What does that look like? Almost like my noggin. Just to give you an approximate size. I'm going to go ahead and tie that one off. Now I'm only doing that one balloon to the 4 seconds, and the subsequent 3 are going to be 2 seconds. So I'll do that quick change. So here I'll go shift and shift again. While the 4's flashing, just going to go down a couple until I'm at 2. Shift to lock that in. So I'm going to inflate the next 3 at that 2 seconds. Just tying off, give a little bit of slack. It doesn't need to be too much, but you're going to be doing a couple of twists in there, so you don't want it too tight, because if it's hard up against the inflated part of the balloon, you're risking it going pop prematurely. The storm started sooner than it should, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So I've got my 4. Now for the rest of the design, I don't need to use that timer function. So sometimes, if you're like me, you don't really want to go back and shift and up and down and which flashing number am I on. So I just turn it off, turn it on again, and it's zeroed back. So cheats way. If you don't know it already, it's brilliant. Okay, so now I'm going to take a 4 second inflated one and a 2 second one, just so you can have that comparison of sizes. Now we're going to twist this one in half. It doesn't matter if your halves aren't perfect, but we want it in 2. You'll probably find it easier holding it onto your body. I'm going to put that other one down. We've got that in 2. A good twist, and I'm just going to pop it under my arm and hold it in place there while I twist my 2 second inflated balloon. I makes it far easier on your body. Again, you don't need to try and make them identical. The beauty of the design is the irregular shapes of the circles. So what I'm going to do now is bring those two together and give it a few good twists. Just help really lock it in. Now we're going to go ahead to take one of our next 2-second inflated balloons. And now we're going to get 3 different twists into here. So we'll start with the first one, twisting this balloon in 2. So I like to go with splitting it where the nozzle is. And then I'm going to go ahead and split this portion of the balloon. And then I'm going to try and lock those 3 balloons in together, so hopefully it won't come out before I can get it in the design. Twisting that there, and to help lock that in place, got that, just wrapping the one of the second or third balloons around that first one, bubble, that we made. If you can locate the nozzle, that's great. We can use that to combine it with this design. Or you can try and find one of those nozzles in here and twist it around there. You can even do both. Happy days, keeps it all in tight. So I'm just going to take it from our first cluster and bring it over and wrap it in. So again, bringing that in. And I might even, this is the one from the balloon, the single balloon with the 3 bubbles. In. You could finish there, but it looks nicer, I think, with a bit more volume to it. Hence, we've got this one. So what we're going to do is, just like before, twist it into 2, and then pick the larger bubble and twist that into 2. So we've got the 3. Each other a bit to lock them in. Now, one of the 3 bubbles went to this side, so I want to put my other 3 on the opposite side. Oops. One came undone, but easy to pop in again. Pick my spot where visually I think it will be good to be added, and have a play around to see what you think best is befitting for the design. Just twisted that in there. Now, to help actually keep that design together, because there wasn't a great deal of length to those nozzles that we had, we're going to take the white 160 to enable us to really get that in and lash it in nice and tight. What I like to do when I'm doing some lashing of balloons is just go from the end of the balloon, slide your fingers along to remove all that air, and just tie it off. So as opposed to just tying a knot in an uninflated one with the air still in it, I just find this suits the purpose far better to keep it all together. So I'm going to just go from one end, and there's no real exact method to doing this right. I'm going to take it from halfway, pull it in nice and snug as far as I can, and then wrap those 2 ends backwards and forwards and hitherto throughout this balloon. But you can do it anyway, which basically uses this balloon to get all those together. want to give a big pull and release when you're done, and that'll disappear somewhere into those clusters. Disappear completely. Now it is. Alright, so the shape of your organic cloud is, it's interesting. It's got many potentials. Which do you think looks like the face? You might even like to try and play around with the placement of those bubbles a bit further. What we also want is to be considering where the rain is going to be coming out of the middle of this cloud. So if we decided we want it here, well, that's not going to be very effective because there's a balloon in the way. We need to engineer a gap in there if there isn't one already. So I've just moved mine around a little bit. And I think I like it like this. You know, I like it like that. All right, so that's the cloud. Let's focus next on the rain. I'm going to take one of my 260s and start inflating. In this case, I've just left about 20 centimeters, which is approximately 8 inches of tail there for my American or imperial king. Now, I'm going to make the length of this initial bubble to be about the width of my hand. And then I'm going to do a 5-petal flower base. And folding, twisting, and there's our first petal. We're going to keep on going until we have the fork. And I like to fold and twist, but if you wanted to twist off the length first, a bit smaller. I've got about 4 fingers worth of bubble there. And this is what we're looking at. So we've got the initial bubble, and then we've got 5 petals around it. Now, we probably could have put less air in this in the beginning, but that's okay. We just work with what we've got until we can't work with it anymore, and then we're going to add in an additional balloon. Here's my friendly little rain cloud. I'm going to take this nozzle end it into my rain cloud, and I'm just going to wrap that around any of those white cloud bubbles. And now we're going to be making a lot of bubbles to represent the rain. So I'm going to just roll this up and around until it's pointing in the same direction as the cloud, and start twisting some bubbles. So they're going to be approximately 1 inch in length, 2.5 centimeters an inch. And we want to approximate how many of those bubbles it's going to take to reach up into that rain cloud. I think with that 3 is all I'm going to get. So I'm going to go ahead to remove this excess. Tie that off. Giving it a reasonable length of tail to help me get that into the cloud. of rain. So we're going to work to try and cover that circumference of your middle balloon, just to hide the fact that it's a supporting bit of rain in there. I'm going to allow myself a lot of potential with this particular balloon, and that means that it's going to be inflated only to about this much. Tighter. And let's do the next part. Now what I'm going to do with this one is get the nozzle end and add it in at the pedal base. And we're going to start that chain of bubbles again to go up into the cloud. When you're creating these bubbles, I like to give maybe 4 twists at least, but you don't want to be too obsessive or excessive in your volume of twists. Just enough to hopefully not have the series unravel, because a good solid trick to know, if you don't already, but I'm sure you do, but if you're holding the first bubble, that's holding this one, and you're holding the last bubble, that chain is going to stay there, but sometimes it might slip undone if possibly you've only done 1 or 2 twists, so one good twist deserves another, I say. But now I've got my 3, and it's starting to get a little bit more tighter in this area. It's not too bad, but I want to squeeze the air towards the tail end here, just to encourage a bit more of a gap in the bubbles. I've just brought that around this big white bubble here and over to the other side, where I'm going to do the next series. So, and with this 3 back into the pedal base. So far it's working out that it's almost necessary to have 3 bubbles each time, but that's not always going to be the case. So just taking that chain up into the cloud area, you might need to release one of your chain, you might need to add one to try and just keep it looking fairly consistent going up into there. I'm going to be nervy and go for 4, but I think it can handle it. Squishing that air towards the tail end, finding some of the white bubbles to bring it through. Oh look, I lost one. That happens just this season again. Getting there. So I'm just going to continue making those chain of bubbles and taking it in to the pedal base. One final row should be enough. It looks like maybe only 2 is required. So 2 it shall be. Now get rid of, when you happen to get to the end of your balloon, let's get rid of a bit off the end. Bye. Just going to tie it nice and close to the bubble itself. And then take that tail end up into the head to reposition your petal base. So that looks like your 5-petal flower again. And I'm just going to play with that positioning a bit. Got a bit of a tilt happening. So that was just me encouraging that cluster of blue to go more into the center of underneath my cloud. Yeah, pretty happy with how that's looking. So let's add a fun little element, that is the lightning. See what I did there? I hope so. Just giving it a reasonable length of tail there to help get that nice and hidden inside that cloud cluster. And I'm going to decide where I want it to come from. I think from the side is a nice place because it gives a bit of balance to the design. So to get those bends in your lightning, we're going to shape it. This with your hands. So what I'm doing is folding those balloons, the balloon to me, squeezing the air out and releasing, so we get that bend occurring in the balloon shape. Now, you can have a play with what you think looks nifty. Maybe you want to put additional bends in your lightning, do it. It's your design. Mine, yours, ours. It's a design we're doing. But I like the two. I think it gives nice balance and it's not excessive and it kind of meets a nice, it's a nice length rather than protruding too far from the design. So I'm going to get rid of my additional. Line it up. Bring it into that petal base. Reshape it a bit if you need to. Sometimes it just needs a bit of reinforcement with what you've done. It's got a funny shape there, but that's okay. Lightning's funny, is it not? Dislike it, but there is more bends than I was hoping for, so you know what I'm going to do? With it a little there, probably more than I wanted to, but we've got that lightning bolt coming down. So you can leave it at that, but if you'd like to make it the kawaii cloud, like my inspiration, let's get some markers and do the art. Just going to keep it really basic here. and start off giving it a couple of rosy cheeks. I like to use a light pink Sharpie. Just check the design, make sure they look pretty even and kind of the same. I like to use my Pentel Maxi Flow marker to do the black detailing such as the eyes, because the dynamic bullet point helps you get a the bullet point helps you to get a dynamic line when you are drawing. You can get a bit safe in there. You could go ahead to drawing pupils if you wanted to, but I quite like the simplicity of the lines. It gives that very happy kind of appearance, like big smile. And you can give it some eyebrows. Because if it's got eyes and mouth and cheeks, why not eyebrows? And that's my thoughts. I happen to have left my red marker inside. No, I don't want orange. This pink will do. So that is our happy little rain cloud. So I hope you enjoy making one of your very own, because they're kind of like super cute. I can imagine how lovely it might look if you were to do a rainbow off there as well. Or this would be a nice start to a rainbow. So you could have your two series of clouds and a 260 rainbow going through. Use your imagination, because I think there's a lot of possibilities with what you could achieve with the cloud. Enjoy the design. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.